So our next speaker is a dear friend of mine, a brother from another mother, and that is Dr. Ricky Brar. There's so much I could say about Ricky, but I know when he starts speaking, it's going to do a lot of the talking for him. So Dr. Brar has been a wonderful member of our community and our team. And I remember when Ricky walked into my office for the first time, and it became my, commitment to him to change his life and to make it better, and for him to have the best health he could possibly have and the best opportunities that he could possibly have. He had just graduated as a chiropractor, and he heard me speak, on a summit, and he came into the office, and I think the rest is history. So I'm sure he'll go into that. But I just wanted to say that it's been wonderful to see and witness and play whatever role I have in his journey. Dr. Brar, now he actually runs multiple group health coaching programs, and he also trains practitioners through our program as well in setting up their very own gut-based group programs. He also runs a metabolic program to help South Asian members of our community in preventing chronic disease. And he has worked with thousands of patients, trained hundreds of doctors in clinical protocols and outcomes, and has delivered many talks in his community. He also is featured on the radio here locally in Toronto, which is kind of cool as well. And so his healthy obsession with learning the most efficient strategies to help patients has allowed him to live out his purpose, help as many people live meaningful and fulfilling lives, and do that by overcoming their health challenges so they can really meet themselves as who they are in the mirror when they see themselves. So Ricky's going to be talking about how to attract organic leads. Who wants more organic leads? Okay, an organic lead isn't referring to somebody who isn't sprayed with poisonous, pesticides and stuff like that. An organic lead is one that you don't have to pay for. Okay, so it's somebody that is a referral would be an organic lead. Somebody who reads your content would be an organic lead. If Ricky's on the radio and he does, a promotion and that person comes in, that's an organic lead. Okay, so an organic lead is different than a paid traffic lead. And I would say that all of us should want more organic leads. They're going to be our lowest cost of acquisition client. And typically they're going to be somebody who is very attracted to our message and attracted to our brand. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Brar to the stage. Ricky, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, brother. Love you. And I can't believe how long it's been and the journey. I'm so grateful for all of it. And it's been an amazing event so far. So I'm excited to talk to everybody here today about attracting organic leads. But I'll start with a little bit of background. So as Sachin mentioned, we met many years ago, 2014, I believe it was. So a long time ago, and I first came in as a newly graduated chiropractor, but I came in to get attention for myself as a patient. I had a long history with gut issues, and it's something that I was always just being held back from. And within 3 months, I couldn't believe the difference that the functional medicine approach created for me. So right then and there, I was like, my heart is nowhere else. I just graduated as a chiropractor. I'm like, I want to work in this capacity. And I got trained. And for many years after that, I saw patients. I was thrown in the fire, and we were a very busy and blessed practice at the time. And I worked with lots of people all over in all walks of life, all conditions. And I was always obsessed with getting people that big breakthrough. And I would spend so much time researching. I know the team would laugh. I would already have listened to every new podcast that came out before they even mentioned it, every new book I'd already read. And I've always been that person that likes to take in a lot of knowledge, sometimes to my own detriment as well. But we did that for years. And then I know the big event for everyone was the pandemic. So I'd always thought that there must be a more efficient way to do things, not only for me, but for the client side as well, for the amazing people that I work with. There must be a different model to help these people and help them create even bigger breakthroughs. So when the pandemic hit in March of 2020, I was really pushed into creating a group program. And I always wanted to create a group program, but I wanted to focus a lot on the gut. That was my passion. That was my area of expertise. And I created a group-based program that worked on the gut, and it's still still running. We just passed our 3-year anniversary. And that's something that has been the biggest blessing in my life. We've had so many amazing case studies go through that program. So many people get results that they wouldn't have got anywhere else because of the community aspect, because of what they got in that setting with other people going through it as a journey. And one of the things that I want to talk with everybody about today is you really want to think of yourself creating those life skills that you can then apply to anything else that you do. So as an example, a coder that learns to code a website and create a website, they can then go and make websites for many different businesses. It doesn't have to be just one specific business. Just like that, they can go and code maybe an app. They can code different types of software. So we learn these universal skills and we don't often think like that. We often think that, hey, we're practitioners. We graduated as a chiropractor, as a medical doctor, as a naturopath, and this is what we're going to do for the rest of our life. So before we dive into the organic lead side, there's really 2 foundations everything starts off of. First one is going to be conviction in yourself. So that's going to be absolutely massive. And I feel that even took me a decade plus to build, and it's still continuing to be built today, is believing that you are that person that can go out there, carry your message, reach the masses, make a difference, change lives, and also do it in a way that you're able to maintain your own freedom in life, your own sanity, time with your family, all the above. And the other big missing piece often is conviction in your services. So coming from the functional medicine side, how many people here had that person come to them with the most textbook case of maybe some gas, bloating, energy issues, and you're like, hey, this should be pretty straightforward, but it absolutely wasn't. And many months later, you're still working with them on some of those aspects. The predictability in this model is a bit challenging, right? So you can't always say with 100% success that everyone coming in is going to get this result. So sometimes we have to build that conviction. And that's where the program that you'll learn about over the weekend here, the metabolic program Leanna talked about as well, that is a high conviction program. That is something that has such insane levels of conviction to it and predictability. People have life-changing results as a result of it. And the beauty of the program is the simplicity. So once you build this conviction in your program and in yourself, you can then go out and these organic leads that we're all after, these people we want to work with, they can sense that conviction. If you're somebody who's unsure about yourself, it comes up. If I was very unsure about myself, every single one of you would be able to read me like a book right now. But that conviction is so, so important. I'll use an old Sachin example on this analogy is if somebody was selling you a Ferrari for 10 grand, and for those of you that don't know, Ferraris are usually a couple $100,000 at minimum. If somebody was selling you that for 10 grand, you would probably think it's stolen. But let's say you found out it was legit. It would be a no-brainer for you to buy that, even if you don't like cars, because then you could go and resell that for multiples on that dollar, right? So if you have that level of conviction in the services that you offer, that I know that I can deliver this level of service to the individuals that you're trying to look after, your unique niche, you're going to attract organic leads very easily. There's people in all walks of life. There's people who are talking about they're mediums. There's people who are talking about past life regressions, and not saying any of this is untrue, but a lot of this, there's not a lot of hard scientific research backing it up, but their conviction speaks volume and people want to work with these people. So you want to start with the belief that you can build a business like this. I know going through chiropractic school, I heard over and over and over again that you'll have to pay tons for overhead and get an office and pay for equipment, and then it'll take you years to pay it off, and you're going to slowly attract people word of mouth. And people start their businesses with this belief in mind. I want you to believe that you can start with a business that is super fulfilling. And a term that I've really fallen in love with lately is self-actualization. One of the big goals of the work that we do should always be self-actualization. It should not feel like a burden at any point to you. I know many of us have probably walked in and out, myself included, of clinical burnout, of just spending long, long hours. We want to make sure that we're starting there. So in order to start there, you want to really dedicate yourselves to going after it from this lens, but pick a platform. Pick a single platform and start there. So I know that was mentioned earlier today, but you don't have to be everywhere all at once. I've really honed in on Instagram. I know TikTok has taken things by storm, but also you want to base this on your personality and the way that you like to present yourself. For example, you'll never catch me dancing. So if you do, I'm sorry that you had to witness that. My wife actually made me practice for our wedding some basic moves in front of a mirror, and she still laughs about it to this day, so I wouldn't embarrass her. So I'm that bad of a dancer, but that's why I'm not going to go on TikTok. I know you could do other things on TikTok, but I probably won't shine there. I'm more of a long form content, more of a thoughtful post type of individual. So really take into account who you are and start with that platform. And then here's the big kicker. It's not a build it and they will come. Post consistency is important, but that does not guarantee that you're going to have growth, that people are going to attract your message and hook on. So what you really want to change the mindset around is building a relationship with every single person that reaches out to you. So anybody that follows you on, I'll use Instagram for the examples here, anyone that follows you on Instagram, you should reach out to them, just even to ask them, hey, what brought you in here? Keep that engagement going. Keep that from the start. And that's the big thing, just by a raise of hands. How many of you have posted an amazing, thoughtful post that you spent tons of time on, and then when you put it out there, barely anybody commented or liked it or viewed it? Like, is that not the most crushing thing ever? So one of the things that you really want to understand is the algorithm doesn't favor you unless you want to spend money, right? So in order for you to go out and attract organic leads, you have to go to the leads. So you might have heard that when you post something on your Facebook page, less than 3% of the people that follow you are probably going to see it, if that. So we can't assume that your post was in good quality. We just haven't met the right people yet. This is where you can go to the DMs. This has been the biggest lesson that I've learned. We launched a metabolic reset program about a year and a half ago now to the South Asian community here. And we've built a great following on Instagram. We built it into a great brand name as well, but we are in our DMs all day long. We are building relationships with people. Some people that messaged us months and months and months ago, or we had a call with last year, February, are signing up now to work with us. So it's very important for you to continue to make those relationships, but go to your leads. Don't wait for your leads to come to you. So this is where you might have people from your past life experience. I know a lot of us come from different industries that you know could benefit from a service that you're offering. It's not sleazy to reach out to them in a very kind, loving way and say, hey, I don't know if you knew this about me, but this is what I've been working on lately. If you know anybody that would benefit from this process, please let them know. Please send them my way. This is a way for you to get to people. This is very, very important. So use your DMs. You should not be somebody who's always waiting for things to happen. You have to go out and make things happen. Some other strategies, the biggest strategy that's worked for us is we don't realize how much data we can extract from social media without any fancy software or anything like that. So as an example, on Instagram, what you can actually do is you can post a poll. So you could poll people on, hey, what is your biggest health challenge? And you could use words that illustrate more of a pain point. So you can use words like suffering. What are you suffering with most? And you put that as a poll in your Instagram, and then you leave a couple of options. You don't want to leave any open-ended, but you can say something like gut issues, weight loss, joint pain, all of the above. And then as people click on that, those are people that actually took the time to read your post, click on it. You have people who are essentially pre-qualified. They're actually telling you, they're in a way screaming at you subconsciously that, hey, I need help with this issue. And those are the individuals that you then want to go and build an organic relationship with, an organic conversation with. So a lot of times when we're any sort of practitioner, we're kind of like behind the scenes, we're kind of in the trenches, and we don't think it's a good idea to go out and be on the front lines actually talking with people. But people are very impressed when you, who they might think of as a celebrity, reaches out to them, talks to them, comes up in their feed, is top of mind awareness for them. And this is something that sometimes they don't respond, but you can always engage them, or they might respond months later when they're ready. And another strategy you can use, this is something that Sachin spoke about a lot today, is leveraging media. That's one of the 4 levers. You can record, it's kind of an old-fashioned term, but a VSL, a video sales letter. And it can be a couple of case studies that you've worked with, and you can actually send that to people so they know exactly what you're about. And you're not finding yourself repeating yourself over and over and over again on that discovery call. So this is very important. Now, the most important part about all of this, and this is where it all leads to, is you do not want to remove the human element from any of this. People want to work with a real person, somebody who's been through it. I'm an empath, so I've been on the other side of the table and I know what it feels like to talk to people who are cold, disengaging, dismissive as well to an extent. People don't want to work with an algorithm. They want to work with you as a human being. So you want to keep the human touch, and nothing creates that better than being in an instant message type of format, such as a DM. How many of you have signed up for email lists and then you just know already before you even hit submit that it's going to be email 1, email 2, email 3, and they're all going to have videos? And that's not a bad thing, but it's missing that personal touch. So if you can create that personal touch, this is how you get organic leads without having to spend tons and tons on advertising and webinars and things like that. So get that data. You want to create FOMO. This is going to be very important as well, fear of missing out. So anybody who does follow you, make sure your posts have a degree of FOMO to them. Let people know what they're missing out on as a result of not working with you, not engaging with you. We've had so many people that we talked with them many, many months ago, and then we threw up a certain before and after on our Instagram page, and all of a sudden they're like, okay, sign me up. I want this exact result right now. So go out. Remember, the algorithm doesn't support you unless you want to pay for it. So you have to get around it by building real connections and maintaining that human element. That's one of the most important things you can do. So I don't want to go over my time, but I hope that was helpful, and I'm here to help in any further way needed.
Well, Ricky, let's all show Ricky some love. I know he packed a lot of punch in there. Couple things to recap. Just, we use nature as our teacher, and it's figured out all the math and all the equations for growth and abundance. And one of the things, as Ricky was speaking, was he's like, you can't just post stuff and then expect it to be like flies on shit, right, so to speak. It's like, you might think that it's going to be like that, but that's not how it works. If you're just posting periodically, it's kind of like farting in a hurricane. And I'm giving you all of these, digestion metaphors because Ricky is an expert on digestive health. So we can have some fun here, right? So when it comes to like growing your business, you kind of think of the roots of a tree, right? Do the roots wait for the nutrients to come, or do the roots grow towards the nutrients? Right? They grow towards the nutrients because they have this innate intelligence and honing signal that helps them identify where those are. It's actually the mycelium that helps them identify where the nutrients are. And that's why being in the right soil is so abundantly valuable to you. So you have to grow towards people. And as much as we can turn monologues into dialogues, the better. So a monologue is you just posting and hoping somebody starts a conversation with you. Right? A dialogue is you intentionally posting something that generates conversation, and then starting a conversation with somebody, not just on Facebook or not just in the comment section, but in their direct messenger. That's the step that some of us might be missing, is actually going and having a dialogue with them, because you can only go so deep, right? You're not going to talk about explosive diarrhea in the comment section of your post. You're going to talk about that in the direct messenger section, right? And that's where you deeply connect with people. So I learned a few new things that might be helpful for you from Ricky's talk. And one of them was that if you are going to create some sort of engaging post, I'm guilty of this because sometimes the responses can be overbearing, and I'm actually not looking for new functional medicine clients right now. So I just like to deliver value. But one thing I realized that could make my communication more effective is I might say, hey, who wants this recording of how my client lost 60 pounds in 60 days? And it's basically a case study on how we did that. And I'll just copy and paste a kind of generic response. Okay. So I'm guilty of this too, because if 100 people respond, you try to be as efficient as you can. But what's better than efficiency is effectiveness. And what would be more effective for me to do would be to start a dialogue and conversation and say, hey, I saw that you were interested in that case study, right? Is that like, where is the best place for me to send it? Right. So at least you're just starting that conversation. And guess what? If they don't respond to that, they're probably not going to ever listen to what you send them. Right. So start that conversation so that they don't feel like you just dumped the answer in their inbox and then there's really nothing for you to talk about. So start the conversation first and then deliver the resource or the tool. Or you might even DM them and say, hey, what's the best email address for me to send this to you? Right? Capturing their email address is also another powerful way to be able to retarget them or communicate to them without having to, to pay money to do that. Okay. Get them on your list so you can nurture them and educate them. But more importantly than getting them on your list, start a conversation. Okay. How many of you can see how you can apply this into your business and maybe where some of your efforts might be falling just an inch short? Okay. You're not a mile short, you're an inch short. And it's just a matter of having, again, remember what it is. It's courage and a clock, right? So your message is probably time sensitive. So the clock is ticking and you have to have the courage for them to be unresponsive. What's the worst thing they can do? Not respond. They're not going to be mad at you. They asked you for the resource. They asked you for the tool that you're sharing. So all they can be is grateful or unresponsive. And sometimes that's because you go into a message request folder. It has nothing to do with you either. Okay. So keep that in mind. Ricky, thank you for all the wisdom you've imparted. You've been on the stage many times at Perfect Practice, and thank you for being a coach in our community and all the work and the insights that you provide us. Lots of love to you, brother.
Lots of love to you too. And thank you for the opportunity. It's always an honor.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Let's show Ricky some love again. Let's give him some digital love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.